It was once filled with laughter, cigars, and the sound of booming applause. Now, it sits silent, abandoned, a forgotten relic of a man who once ruled American television. Yes, we're talking about Jackie Gleason, the great one. But behind the fame, behind the charisma, was a man surrounded by mystery, heartbreak, and a haunting legacy that still lingers in the shadow of his empty home. Did you grow up watching The Honeymooners? Type 1 for yes, 0 for no in the comments. We want to hear from you. Because today, we are going behind the velvet curtain and revealing the truth about Jackie Gleason's abandoned house, his tragic death, and the family he left behind. Health and lifestyle. You may not be aware that Jackie Gleason's health and lifestyle throughout the years were influenced by a complicated combination of personal habits and the pressures of a high-profile entertainment profession, which eventually had a substantial impact on his well-being. By the early 1950s, at the height of his celebrity with the Jackie Gleason Show on CBS, Gleason was already engaging in habits that would later be identified as extremely harmful to his health. It is well recorded that he smoked 6 packs of cigarettes every day beginning in 1952. This strong smoking habit alone was enough to raise worries about his long-term health, especially considering the growing body of research linking smoking to respiratory and cardiovascular problems. Gleason's physical health was exacerbated by long-standing issues with weight control. Throughout his entire life, he swung between extremes, sometimes weighing close to 300 pounds and others dipping as low as 185 pounds. Such severe weight swings indicate serious issues with food and metabolism, which were aggravated by his lifestyle choices. His eating habits were famously bad. His diet was mostly composed of enormous amounts of red meat and rich, sweet desserts. There was a noticeable lack of vegetables and a low intake of healthy meals. When combined with his excessive alcohol use and lack of physical activity, these circumstances contributed to a progressive decrease in his general health and vigor. Jim Bishop, the author of The Golden Ham, an honest biography of Jackie Gleason, emphasizes the practical significance of Gleason's weight changes. Bishop observes that Gleason needed 3 distinct clothes to accommodate his ever-changing size. This not only demonstrates the physical toll of his behaviors, but also highlights the psychological and emotional difficulties of his self-image and health. Gleason's physique was constantly stressed as his weight fluctuated between 185 and 285 pounds, making it more difficult to maintain stamina, particularly given the demands of his work in television, theater, and cinema. The ramifications of this lifestyle hit Gleason hard in 1978, during his theatrical tour of Larry Gelbart's play Sly Fox, in which he played the main role. Gleason had chest pains, a worrisome sign that prompted him to have triple bypass surgery, a major cardiovascular treatment. This operation was a necessary step that briefly stabilized his cardiac problem while emphasizing the substantial health dangers posed by his lifestyle. Despite these hurdles, Gleason persevered and delivered spectacular performances. One of his most noteworthy later appearances was in the 1986 comedy drama Nothing in Common, co-starring Tom Hanks. In this picture, Gleason played a caustic, infirm character that resembled the gruff, outspoken Archie Bunker, and received great accolades for his nuanced and genuine portrayal. However, during the film's filming, Gleason was dealing with a far more serious health situation in private. He was diagnosed with colon cancer, which had metastasized to his liver, suggesting an advanced and potentially fatal stage of the disease. In addition to the cancer diagnosis, he had phlebitis, an infection of the veins, and diabetes, which hampered his health and treatment choices. Surprisingly, Gleason preferred to keep his medical concerns hidden, insulating his followers and the general public from the true scope of his suffering. Rumors of his deteriorating health spread, but Gleason maintained a dignified quiet, focused on his work till his death. Jackie Gleason, 71, died on June 24, 1987, at his Florida home. His death marked the passing of one of the 20th century's most beloved and influential performers, a guy whose wit, kindness, and larger-than-life presence had impacted millions. Following his death, a funeral mass was given at the Cathedral of St. Mary, as a sad monument to his Catholic beliefs. Gleason was later put to rest in a private outdoor mausoleum at Our Lady of Mercy Catholic Cemetery in Miami, where he was buried in a sarcophagus. This ultimate resting place is a serene tribute to a man whose life was distinguished by both tremendous accomplishment and deep emotional suffering. his sister-in-law, June Taylor, a choreographer and a crucial influence in Gleason's career and life, is buried to the left of the mausoleum, with her husband and attorney, Saul Lerner. The proximity of their last resting sites reflects Gleason's tight familial relationships, which remained strong throughout his life and after his death. Let us now focus our attention on Jackie Gleason's properties. In 1965, he made a crucial step by buying a home in Hialeah, Florida, which marked the beginning of a new chapter in his personal and professional life. This property was located next to the famed country club of Miami's golf course, a site that perfectly represented Gleason's profound enthusiasm for golf, which would come to characterize much of his lifestyle during his time in Florida. His choice of land reflected not just his passion for the game, but also his desire to live in a community where golf and leisure were important to daily life. The timing of this purchase was noteworthy since it occurred shortly after Gleason made a significant career change. In 1964, he relocated his tremendously famous television program from its longtime home in New York City to Miami Beach. This relocation was part of a larger trend in the entertainment business during the mid-1960s, when warmer weather and new filming sites became increasingly desirable. Life and relocation. By purchasing a property in adjacent Hialeah, Gleason put himself in close proximity to Miami Beach's thriving nightlife scene, while also ensuring a more private and calm atmosphere away from Manhattan's harsh glare. Though public records provide little data regarding Gleason's Hialeah home's architectural style, size, or interior features, its proximity to the Miami Golf Course Country Club implies it was constructed for comfort and leisure. Golf was more than simply a passion for Gleason. It was an integral part of his identity and everyday routine. Living so near to the course allowed him to participate in the sport more regularly without the difficulty of travel, which improved his quality of life as he acclimated into the Florida lifestyle. The Country Club of Miami, famed for its well-kept greens and social ambiance, also served as an appropriate backdrop for Gleason's standing as a popular South Florida citizen and celebrity who liked interacting with the community. Gleason's house in Hialeah was a turning point in his life. It was his principal property in the early years after shifting his television production to Florida, essentially functioning as a home base as he adapted to life in a new setting. This era in the mid-1960s was critical for Gleason, as he sought to reconcile his busy work with personal rest and enjoyment. The relocation south and the purchase of this golf-adjacent property mirrored his changing priorities, with a greater emphasis on leisure and health, even as he maintained a demanding work schedule. Gleason relocated to the Inverrary golf community in 1971, following many years in Hialeah. Inverrary was recognized for its luxury mansions and championship golf courses, which complemented Gleason's increasing image as a committed golfer and socialite in the region. His relocation there reflected a guy seeking an even more elite and golf-centric atmosphere, expanding on the foundation created by his previous Hialeah home. There is little available information about the Hialeah property's condition following Gleason's departure, including whether it was sold, maintained, or changed in future years. Given its significance to Gleason's life and career, it remains an important aspect of his personal history, particularly for fans and historians interested in his life outside the limelight. The house represented more than just a place to live. It was a visible expression of Gleason's assimilation into the South Florida lifestyle and his adoption of golf as a defining interest. In 1971, Jackie Gleason made a significant step toward extending his fame beyond the television screen by relocating to a spectacular 6,000-square-foot lakeside mansion at 3425 Willow Wood Road in the affluent hills of Inverrary neighborhood in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This majestic mansion, commonly known as Glay Manor, was more than simply a dwelling. It was a beautiful personal hideaway that was painstakingly built to represent Gleason's bright personality, love of entertainment, and desire for affluent living. Constructed to Gleason's exact specifications, the home was an enormous 14-room house with 6 big bedrooms and 8 bathrooms, providing adequate space for both family and guests. Every inch of the house was designed to accommodate Gleason's lifestyle as an avid entertainer and socialite. The house's scale and architecture exemplified Gleason's flair for grandeur, making it a significant landmark in the Inverrary neighborhood, a well-known enclave for rich people and passionate golfers, which matched Gleason's lifelong passion for the sport. One of Glay Manor's most notable features was its billiard room, which was constructed in partnership with none other than Willie Moscone, a pool legend widely considered as one of the best players in the game's history. This unique billiard room served as a focal point for social occasions, allowing Gleason to enjoy his favorite activity while entertaining friends and coworkers. The space oozed refinement and a profound love for the sport, combining excellent craftsmanship with Gleason's own preferences. The estate also included a private sauna, where Gleason could unwind and recover after hard days on set or on the golf course. An interior aviary added to the home's exotic and distinctive features, demonstrating Gleason's love of nature and desire to create an atmosphere that was as interesting within as it was peaceful outside. The aviary provided a calm hideaway with birds, bringing nature inside the opulent house. Gleason's home was definitely designed with hospitality in mind, as seen by the presence of 5 fully stocked bars around the property. Among these bars was a unique bottle of George Dickel Tennessee whiskey, manufactured specifically for Gleason. This handcrafted liquor became a symbol of his sophisticated tastes and desire to entertain in luxury. The many bars allowed visitors to drink beverages wherever they were in the home, promoting Gleason's desired seamless social atmosphere. The actual heart of Glee Manor was its entertainment room, a magnificent area meant for both leisure and spectacular events. This area included a sunken bar, which produced an appealing and private atmosphere ideal for chats over beverages. Adjacent to the bar was a dining room designed to simulate a high-end restaurant, replete with attractive furnishings and a sophisticated atmosphere. This restaurant-style dining area became the setting for many memorable meetings given by Gleason, who invited some of the biggest celebrities of the day. Among the renowned guests that visited Glee Manor were Frank Sinatra, a longtime friend and fellow entertainment figure, and President Gerald Ford, underscoring the estate's reputation as a center of celebrity and political socialization. These visits highlighted Gleason's authority and status, as well as the home's function as a cultural and social hub. Estate, a unique memorabilia. Following Gleason's death in 1987, his wife Marilyn Taylor lived on the estate until 1992, preserving the home's environment and the memories of Gleason's active life there. The property was then sold to Joseph Celentano for $450,000, signaling the end of an era. Surprisingly, the property remained nearly unaltered, keeping many of Gleason's original furniture, decorations, and the peculiar personality that made Glee Manor so memorable. Years later, in 2015, the estate was auctioned off, attracting attention not just for its architectural and historical value, but also for its direct link to one of television's most colorful characters. It was then offered for $299,000 in 2016, providing a unique opportunity to buy a piece of entertainment history maintained almost precisely as Gleason had left it. Among Jackie Gleason's many homes, none is more iconic or representative of his distinct personality and interests than the roundhouse at 196 Furnace Dock Road in Cortlandt Manor, New York. Built in 1959, this unique residence stood out not just for its innovative construction, but also for the tale it conveyed about Gleason's intense concern with UFOs, the paranormal, and an unconventional lifestyle. The roundhouse, also known as the Mothership, was a UFO-inspired masterpiece that appeared to have landed straight from a science fiction film. Its circular shape was groundbreaking at the time, displaying a futuristic look not commonly seen in residential buildings. The home was designed by architect Robert Sika, a follower of the great Frank Lloyd Wright, whose influence can be seen in the perfect blend of natural materials and creative architectural concepts. A Swedish shipbuilder constructed the residence within an airplane hangar, an uncommon form of construction that contributed to its otherworldly charm and structural peculiarity. The roundhouse, which spanned around 3,950 square feet, was part of an 4-acre estate that had other unique structures in addition to the main house. Among these was a tiny circular cottage known as the Spaceship, which complemented the main house's motif and gave a fun, whimsical touch to the estate. The Barracks, a typical stone guest house, featured a distinct architectural style and more conventional lodgings for travelers. Later, 2 in-ground swimming pools were added to the grounds, complementing the property's opulent, resort-like atmosphere. The inside of the Mothership was nothing short of amazing. The home's interior was centered on a beautiful marble spiral staircase that smoothly curled upward, creating a focal point that reflected both elegance and a sense of cosmic mystery. One of the most striking elements was a massive 40-foot-tall fireplace weighing an incredible 240 tons, which centered the living space and made a stunning statement of grandeur and strength. This fireplace was both a work of art and a useful feature, stunning everyone who came. True to Gleason's partying style and expensive lifestyle, the mansion contained 4 completely equipped bars, one of which could easily seat 13 people, making it ideal for holding grand parties and social occasions. The property even had a broadcasting studio, paying homage to Gleason's great career in television and radio, allowing him to work creatively from the comfort of his spectacular home. The Roundhouse, which held a dedicated library with Gleason's enormous collection of literature about UFOs and the paranormal, reflected his great interest in these topics. This private hideaway highlighted his concern in issues well beyond the ordinary, providing a getaway for him to enjoy his intellectual interests away from the public view. The master bedroom was similarly unique, with an 8-foot diameter spherical bed that complemented the home's round theme. The neighboring bathroom included a big spherical shower with more than 10 shower jets, creating a spa-like atmosphere that suited the house's futuristic style. The Roundhouse, which cost $650,000 to build in 1959 and is now roughly equivalent to $6 million, was a costly and ambitious building that perfectly represented Gleason's larger-than-life attitude. The estate became a magnet for celebrities and prominent personalities of the time. Marilyn Monroe and Frank Sinatra, 2 Hollywood superstars from the Golden Age, were among its distinguished guests. Furthermore, President Richard Nixon paid a visit, with rumors persisting that Gleason and Nixon took a private journey to Homestead Air Force Base in 1973 to inspect alleged extraterrestrial remains, an account that has become part of the home's mystery and Gleason's quirky history. Gleason sold the house to CBS in the 1960s, and it changed ownership multiple times. Pace University later owned it before an orthodontist bought it in 1976 for $150,000, a fraction of its original price, and significantly less than its full architectural and cultural significance. The property's distinctiveness and historical significance finally led to a listing price of $12 million in 2018, which reflected its size, architectural ingenuity, and Gleason's celebrity status. For a while, it was offered for rent at $4,000 a month, providing a unique opportunity for someone to live in this architectural marvel. The property is now off the market, but the owners are still open to bids in the $12 million bracket, demonstrating the lasting attractiveness and status of this extraordinary estate. Personal life and affair. Aside from remarkable real estate, Jackie Gleason's personal life was characterized by a complicated succession of relationships and marriages, reflecting both the strains of his burgeoning celebrity and the sometimes conflicting demands between his public image and private aspirations. His love and marital experience began in vaudeville and extended for decades into Hollywood's golden period, influencing much of his emotional world. Gleason met Genevieve Halford while they were both working in vaudeville, a popular theatrical style of entertainment in the early 20th century that featured a range of performers such as dance, comedy, and music. Genevieve, a gifted dancer, shared the stage and backstage lives with Gleason in their early careers. Their working connection evolved into a love one, which culminated in marriage on September 20th, 1936. The relationship began with common experiences, but it quickly revealed fundamental disparities in their outlooks on life. Halford longed for a calm, secure home life, in sharp contrast to Gleason's increasing superstar status and lively nightlife. This dichotomy created difficulty early in their marriage. By 1941, only 5 years after their marriage, the couple had split for the first time, demonstrating the tension produced by their opposing desires and the pressures of Gleason's burgeoning stardom. They reconciled 7 years later, in 1948, indicating a determination to try again despite the obstacles. Jackie and Genevieve had 2 children together, Geraldine, born in 1940, and Linda, born in 1942. Both children grew up in the shadow of their father's expanding reputation, with Linda later venturing into the entertainment world herself. However, Gleason's work and lifestyle continued to strain his family life. By 1951, Gleason and Halford had again grown apart, resulting in an informal split. During this time, Gleason's personal life grew even more complicated when he began a love affair with his secretary, Honey Merrill. Merrill was remarkable not just for her position, but also for her past as a showgirl and her 1956 Miss Hollywood title, which contributed to Gleason's colorful, often scandalous off-screen life. In early 1954, Gleason's career was hampered by an unusual event in which he shattered his leg and ankle during a live broadcast of his television program, sidelining him for many weeks. This episode highlighted the problems in his marriage. While he was healing in the hospital, Halford paid him a visit and was shocked to see Marilyn Taylor, a dancer from Gleason's television program, also there. This finding exacerbated the gulf between Gleason and Halford, prompting her to apply for formal separation in April 1954. Despite their separation, Halford's ardent Catholic beliefs affected her refusal to give a divorce, which she kept until 1970. This lengthy delay complicated Gleason's sexual and marital life since he remained legally married to Halford, even as he pursued other relationships. Gleason met Beverly McKittrick in 1968 while she was working as a secretary at a country club. Their meeting signified a fresh beginning for Gleason. 10 days after his divorce with Genevieve Halford was confirmed, Gleason married McKittrick in Ashford, England, on July 4, 1970. This second marriage, however, was short-lived. The pair divorced in 1975, ending their 5-year marriage. Following the collapse of his marriage to McKittrick, Gleason resumed his romance with Marilyn Taylor, a dancer he had met years before. The couple married in December 1975 and were together until Gleason died in 1987. Taylor was not only his husband, but also a steady companion in his latter years, accompanying him through the end stages of life. Beyond his close contacts, Gleason's legacy extended to his family. Linda, his daughter, entered the performing profession and married Jason Miller, an actor-playwright. Their son, Jason Patrick, continued on the family legacy by becoming a successful actor, furthering the Gleason family's influence on American culture. In addition, few people are aware of Jackie Gleason's dread of flying and his particular interest in strange events. Jackie Gleason's well-documented dread of flying had a long-term impact on his travel patterns, influencing how he balanced business and personal responsibilities. While plane travel is now often seen as normal and handy for celebrities who are always on the go, it was a cause of concern for Gleason and a watershed incident in his early career that changed his approach to mobility for the rest of his life. Fear of flight and interest in paranormalism. Gleason's dread of flying began during the early years of his film career, a time distinguished by both promising potential and the unpredictable and frequently deadly reality of mid-century air travel. As Hollywood beckoned, Gleason found himself frequently traveling between coasts, notably between Los Angeles, the film industry's epicenter, and New York, where much of his television business was centered. These journeys were often for minor roles or short-term projects, but they exposed him to the rising reliance on airplanes to go long distances rapidly. One instance sticks out as the tipping point that initiated Gleason's fear of flying. On a journey to New York, the aircraft experienced a major technical breakdown. 2 of the plane's engines failed mid-flight. Faced with this perilous situation, the pilot was compelled to make a risky emergency landing in Tulsa, Oklahoma. This terrifying encounter, fraught with the horror of uncertainty and the stark reality of impending disaster, had a lasting impact on Gleason's mind. After successfully arriving in Tulsa, Gleason discovered himself stranded far from his intended destination. In the days before modern transit networks and internet communication, his options were restricted. At this point, a local hardware store owner performed an act of compassion by loaning Gleason a large sum at the time, allowing him to purchase passage on a train going for New York. This generosity not only assisted Gleason in continuing his journey, but it also represented the compassion and personal connection that frequently undergird stories of travel misfortunes. Gleason's relationship with flying changed dramatically after that day. He typically avoided air travel in favor of railroads, which he thought more comfortable and convenient. A train's rhythmic, steady motion, combined with the freedom to roam around the cabin, created a sense of control and safety that airplanes' limited area and technical complexity lacked. For many years, Gleason went entirely by rail, even when aircraft may have saved time or provided more convenience. His reliance on trains as his principal form of transit reflects both his personal anxieties and the larger backdrop of mid-century American travel. Trains, while slower than planes, were a well-established and trustworthy mode of transportation, linking towns with the dependability and comfort that Gleason required. The moderate pace also allowed for relaxation, contemplation, and performance preparation, which might be especially beneficial for a demanding performer with a full schedule. This reluctance to flying did not derail Gleason's career, which thrived in television, movies, and live appearances. However, it did provide logistical issues, particularly since the entertainment sector increasingly preferred air travel for its speed and efficiency. Gleason's predilection for train travel was an unusual eccentricity at a period of fast technological improvement, showing the conflict between personal worries and professional obligations. Gleason's dread of flying eventually became part of his public image, a tale that fans and colleagues shared with a combination of pity and laughter. It humanized the larger-than-life performer by exposing a fragility underlying his tough, confident on-screen personas. His narrative served as a reminder that even the most recognized and seemingly courageous persons struggle with deep-seated worries, and that such fears may profoundly influence one's decisions. Next, Jackie Gleason's curiosity with the paranormal was a lesser-known but highly intriguing aspect of his multidimensional nature. Interest in the paranormal. While he is best known as a great comedian, actor, and entertainer, Gleason had a deep interest in things that went beyond the typical scope of human experience. His interest in the supernatural, UFOs, and parapsychology demonstrated an intellectual openness and eagerness to investigate riddles that fascinated many people in the mid-20th century. Throughout the 1950s and after, Gleason spent a lot of time researching the paranormal. He gathered a substantial personal collection packed with literature on a wide range of related themes, from parapsychology, the scientific study of psychic events, to comprehensive descriptions and examinations of unidentified flying objects, UFOs. These readings were not casual, but rather part of a serious inquiry into the unknown and inexplicable. Gleason's curiosity reflected a cultural period in post-war America when public enthusiasm in UFOs, extraterrestrials, and paranormal events was on the rise, spurred by Cold War worries and dramatic media coverage. Gleason's fascination with the supernatural was not limited to lonely reading. During the 1950s, he became a semi-regular guest on John Nebel's nighttime radio show about the paranormal. Nebel's show was a pioneering forum for talks of ghosts, psychic phenomena, UFOs, and conspiracy theories, aired to late-night audiences looking for the unusual. Gleason's appearances on the show allowed him to express his own opinions and experiences, interact with experts and enthusiasts, and contribute to a larger cultural discourse about the boundaries of human knowledge and experience. His appearance on the show provided a rare combination of star attraction and genuine interest. Furthermore, Gleason's link to John Nebel went beyond the radio. He supplied the preface to Donald Bain's biography of Nebel, providing his voice and authority to the evidence of his groundbreaking work in paranormal transmission. This act demonstrated Gleason's regard and enthusiasm for Nebel's contributions to public paranormal research, as well as his personal dedication to these themes. Gleason's interest in the paranormal continued throughout his life, and following his death in 1987, his enormous book collection was donated to the University of Miami's library. This generous contribution showed the breadth and depth of his intellectual interest in paranormal occurrences, ensuring that future scholars and enthusiasts could access the materials that had captivated him. The collection is a lasting witness to a side of Gleason's intellectual life that differed from his public image as a wide, humorous comedian. Perhaps most surprisingly, Gleason's curiosity in UFOs brought him into touch with prominent political officials, demonstrating the often unexpected connections between celebrity culture and government disclosure. According to writer Larry Holcomb, Gleason's well-known curiosity with UFOs spurred President Richard Nixon to share material with him, including a readiness to publicly divulge specific UFO-related facts. While the specifics of these disclosures remain unknown, the relationship implies that Gleason's inquiry went beyond ordinary hobbyism. During the Cold War, he joined a network of people, including celebrities and authorities, who were involved in the intricate and sometimes covert realm of UFOs. Gleason's involvement with UFO mythology was thus not purely passive. His famous profile offered a forum for the spread of paranormal concepts, and his personal interest contributed to the legitimacy of these issues in the eyes of the public. The supposed 1973 excursion with Nixon to Homestead Air Force Base, where extraterrestrial remains were allegedly discovered, while shrouded in mystery, emphasizes Gleason's unique position at the intersection of entertainment, politics, and the supernatural. What's your favorite Jackie Gleason moment? Comment below. We'd love to know what still makes you smile. Like this video if you believe the great one deserves to be remembered. Subscribe and hit the bell for more powerful stories from old Hollywood. Because legends never really die, They just wait for someone to remember.